Hello, hello, hello. How is everyone? How are you all doing this evening? My name is Ruth Finney, and this is You Can Talk. My channel is You Can Talk. So we are here talk. I'm here talking about issues on communication, relationships, and how to have healthy communication in your relationships. So hold on just 1 second here. Here we go. All right, so tonight, hello, True Fan. Hello, Just Vlogging Life. Hello, Peekaboo Scholars. Good to see you all. Welcome, welcome, welcome. So hopefully this will be a good conversation for you all tonight. I hope y'all have had a good weekend, a good Saturday. We've been busy running around, just sort of doing life now, and it feels just so good to get out and about and do activities as a family and stuff. So, but tonight I am on here because I've been doing quite a bit of talk about relationships and, things that you should look for when you are getting married or when you're thinking about getting married, the red flags. I've been sort of talking about quite a bit of the things that you might want to look for that could be warning signs, right? Things that you might want to really take into consideration. Hello, Walker Family TV. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Love you all for sure. That's family in the building. So anyway, I know everyone, it seems like less and less people are talking about getting married, right? They're like, I don't know if marriage is for me. I don't want to be married. But yet there are still lots and tons of people out there who want to be married. They want to get married. They have their different reasons. Hey, Cindy, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome in, sis. Welcome in. So a lot of people are still out there looking to get married for various reasons. So I don't think it's a situation where marriage is something that's lost anymore, that people don't care or think that they want to get married. Hello, Unbroken Sylvia Sunshine. Hello, Unbothered Mimi. How are you? Good to see you all. Welcome. Hello, Janetti's Corner. How are you? Good to see you. Welcome. Welcome. So tonight I just kind of wanted to talk about some things that if you are thinking about getting married or if you are already engaged to be married, just some things to help you to know whether or not you are really ready for marriage and sort of what marriage means. I love being married. This is actually my second marriage for my husband and I both, and we've both been married for almost 7 years now. So happily married, I will say. We just, had some things that, we thought about and things that I kind of wanted to make sure that I share with you all if you are seriously considering marriage, right? And some things to help you know whether or not you're ready for marriage. Because marriage is not for everyone. Congratulations. Congratulations. Oh, thank you. Yes. Almost 7 years now. So praying there'll be a lot more. So I'm super excited and very thankful for my husband and my best friend and everything. So yeah. So let's get into this. Let's get into some of the things that you might want to take into consideration or to help you know in your mind whether or not you're really ready to get married. The first one is, do you communicate well? Do you communicate well? Because everything that makes a marriage successful focuses around healthy communication. And if you're not a good communicator, if you don't communicate well, if you don't advocate for yourself, if you don't, aren't able to express the things that you want, the things that you need, the things that you desire, what your expectations are. If you are shy or tend to like just sort of go with the flow, stuff like that, then you're going to struggle. You're going to struggle in marriage. Let's see, this is my second marriage too. My wife and I have been married for 2 years now. 2 years now. Congratulations. Definitely communication. Yes, communication is everything. Communication is everything. So yes, make sure that you are comfortable in being able to communicate, being able to express, being able to talk about what's important to you, what matters to you, and just who you are as a person. If you're not comfortable communicating, if it's something that you struggle with, work on it. Be at least willing to work on it. Okay. Because if you're willing to work on it, things will be okay. Things will, you can get where you need to be. But if you're unwilling to work on talking, if you're unwilling to work on communicating, it's going to be a struggle. It's going to be a struggle, no matter how many years you've been married, whether it's 2 years or 5 years or 10 years. It's super important that you all communicate with each other. Okay, so that's super important. So number 2. This one is whether or not you are mentally stable. And I don't mean this in the sense that you don't have any mental illnesses or anything like that. Like I said, we all have a little bit of mental illnesses if we're honest with each other. So, but are you happy in your life with where you are? Are you happy with yourself with where you are? Or are you looking for something that you feel will fulfill you? The best situation to walk into when you're married when you're looking to get married is to be whole and healthy and secure and comfortable with who you are, no matter what that is, whether people agree with it or not. Being mentally stable. A lot of times we come out of relationships, especially if you've been in past relationships or been married before even, we come out with scars, we come out with wounds, we have some unresolved issues that we still struggle with, right? Do you struggle with trust? Do you struggle with commitment? Do you struggle with, and trust is like a huge one. Are you able to put your trust into people? Are you able to feel like you can be yourself and be comfortable in yourself wherever you are and whoever you're with, and especially with the person that you're looking to be in good relationship with? Yes, so true. Yes, Janetti's Corner. Absolutely. Grand evening, Sister Ruth. How are you? This is a very interesting and ever learning topic. It is, right? We're always learning how to be healthily married and how to, have good marriages. Let's see. Are you ready for marriage? Thanks for discussing this one. Yes, communication is everything. So yes, number 1 is communication. Number 2 is, are you mentally stable? Are you healthy? Are you whole? Are you happy with where you are in your life? Or do you know you have some things you need to work through, right? If you know you have some trust issues, if you know you have some insecurity issues, if you know you have some stuff, some mental stuff that you're dealing with that you haven't just quite overcome. Maybe you're not quite over your ex. Maybe you're not quite over your past. Maybe you're still dealing with some childhood things that you know you need to work through. Then that's the stuff you really need to focus in on and get healthy and whole, because you don't want to bring somebody else into your marriage when you know you're still dealing with some things. And that's not to say you're going to be perfect before you enter into marriage. You're not going to be perfect, but you need to be on the road to recovery. You need to be on the road to getting healthy and being whole and being comfortable in who you are and being ready to give of yourself. You have to be ready to give of yourself, because marriage is going to take everything out of you. And if you don't have it to give, then it's going to be a challenge. It's going to be really hard for you to give of yourself, or when somebody is pulling on you, when you're still struggling with trying to be full on your own, right? If you already have empty because the world has, beaten you down, or the past relationship has emptied you out, whatever the situation is, if you know you're not fully where you need to be as a person, then pull back, hold off on the marriage. Hold off on the marriage. I'm not saying don't get married. I'm just saying work on those things. If you need to see a counselor, if you need to, get some group therapy, if you need to, go off and do something that you've always wanted to do. Like, maybe you wanted to go back to school. Maybe you wanted to, open a business. Maybe you wanted to take on a hobby. You have some unresolved things that you just kind of wanted to know whether or not you could do in life. Do that stuff before you settle down and get married, because marriage is a ministry in and of itself. Marriage is like, it's a job. It's a job in and of itself. And it requires a lot of you. And if you know you have some things you want to do, some things you want to work on, some unresolved issues, or some stuff out there that you've wanted to just accomplish, go ahead and do that stuff. Go ahead and do that stuff. And if they love you, they will wait. They will wait. And if they can't wait, then maybe it's not for you. But don't force yourself into a situation just because somebody's getting impatient. Okay, just because somebody's getting impatient. I know that can be hard to do because sometimes people can put a lot of pressure, like, well, I'm ready now. I don't have time. I don't have 5 years for you to go see if you can, fulfill this dream of yours. And I get that. I get that. So, try to find some balance, try to find some compromise, try to figure out where you're willing to compromise, how important it is to you, because maybe you're just not really ready to get married. And sometimes we look for excuses not to get married. I know I did kind of when I first was getting married. I wasn't fully ready to get married. I would say that I was ready to get married because I was getting to be that age in my late 20s, and I had done college and all this stuff. And they're like, well, you need to be getting ready to settle down. You need to be, doing this. And I had stuff I wanted to do. I still had stuff I wanted to do, but I was like, well, maybe I should really, think about settling down. And, I don't want things to get too far away. And then I don't have the opportunity to get married. And so, so I did, probably against maybe my better judgment. I mean, if I'm being quite honest with you all. Let's see. Marriage is a lifetime commitment. It is. It's a lifetime commitment. Hey, Tiff, how are you, sis? Good to see you. Yes, marriage is a job and work, but well worth it. 19 years and counting. Good for you. If y'all are hearing, if you're married, go ahead and put how many years you've been married in the chat. I know, Janetti, you said you and your wife have been married 2 years. How many of you all have been married? Go ahead and tell me how long you all have been married in the chat. Let's see. Yes, married. Yes. Those are things to deal with and share those things with your spouse. To be marriage is work, but well worth the work. It is. I agree with you. When it's good, it's real good. And when it's bad, it can be real bad. But I want you all to go into marriage with healthy marriages with excitement and feeling like, yes, I can do this, right? Because I don't want you all to have one foot out the door and one foot in the door, kind of wondering, playing that jump rope, double dutch, like, do I want to stay? Do I want to get out? Do I want to stay? Do I want to get out? Should I, should not, whatever, let me know. Tiff Nim has been married 19 years. The Walker, 23 years, 23 years. What a blessing. What a blessing. 4 years next Saturday. Happy anniversary. Happy early anniversary. That is so awesome. That is so awesome. Good for you all. Thank you all for sharing that with me. I mean, every year, every day that you wake up still together is a blessing because you can't take any day for granted. You can't take any day for granted because you never know when the next one might be gone. 7 years, true fan. 7 years. Good job. Good. Welcome. That's awesome. Phenomenal. I welcome you all's comments. Thank you so much for sharing that with me. Is there anyone in here who's thinking about getting married? Is there anyone who's thinking about getting married or hope to get married somewhere down the future? Let me know that as well. All right. So if you have any unresolved issues that you need to, work through, then do that. Please work through those unresolved issues. Deal with your stuff. Deal with your stuff. Okay. Whatever stuff that is for you, deal with it before you bring somebody else into the picture. The next one is know yourself. Know thyself. I say this all the time. Know thyself. It is absolutely okay to take time to get to know you. To take time, especially if you are just in the house with your parents, or gotten out of a long-term relationship, or just gotten out of a divorce, whatever the situation is, take time to get to know yourself. What have you learned about yourself, about who you are, what you like, what you dislike, what your issues are? Are you able to advocate for yourself? What can you tolerate? What do you know that you can tolerate? And what do you know that you absolutely cannot tolerate? What are you willing to compromise on? And what are you absolutely not willing to compromise on? Okay. These are important things to know about yourself. What sets you off? What are those things that make you angry? What are those things that get you excited, that motivate you, that keep you happy and encouraged to do things and to be? Yes, know yourself. Absolutely. What do you struggle with? What do you struggle with? What are those things that help you thrive? How do you like to receive love? How do you like to give love? All these things, learn these things about yourself. And if you don't know the answers to these questions, take the time to get to know these answers. Do you want kids? How many kids do you want? Do you even like kids? All this stuff is really important. Do you like to move around, or do you want to be stable? Do you have things? Do you have a thought, an idea of what you want your marriage to look like? Or are you just ready to jump in and be like, hey, let's see how this works. Let's see how this goes. Know yourself, because the better you know yourself, the better you can help communicate to your partner who you are, what your expectations are. And you can, kind of educate them on how to talk to you, educate them on who you are, because a lot of times it takes you can be married to somebody. And for those of you all who have been married for like 17 years, 7 years, 23 years, 19 years, for those of you all who have been married, you know that you are constantly learning your spouse. I don't know when that age is, or when that stage of marriage is, that you quit learning your spouse. Number one, because we're constantly changing as people, as human beings. Who I am today at 45 is not who I was at 23, and so because I have evolved, because I have changed, because I have grown, because I have developed, my spouse, my husband, has to be willing to grow and do that with me, so he's having to learn me. And just like I'm changing, he's also changing. He's also growing and evolving and becoming, a better version of himself every day. And I'm having to, learn who that is all the time. So tell me, do you all find, for those of you who have been married for years, do you all find that you all are constantly having to learn each other? Hey, House of X Entertainment, how are you? Good to see you. Great talk. Thank you so much. I appreciate you for being here. Let us know if you're married, how long you've been married, or if you're looking to get married, hope to get married one day. Let us know. Just tell us how many years you've been married, or whether or not you are looking to get married. So yes, you never know yourself. Know yourself. The more you can talk about, the more you can bring to the table, the more you can be able to talk to your spouse about who you are and educate them, and you all can get along better, with each other. Still learning new things after so many years. Yes, you all were 19 years, right? So after 19 years, y'all are still learning each other. And so it's critical that you know yourself, and that as you learn things about yourself, that you share those things with your spouse, okay? Because it's really important for them to know. The next one is know your why. If you are looking to get married, or if you are engaged, it's very important for you to know your why. Why is it important for you to get married? Because a lot of people think that they want to get married because marriage is some sort of a status symbol, or because marriage is, a box they want to check in life. It's like, oh, I'm getting at this age. I said I was going to do this at this time. So let me figure out, let me go ahead and get this done, right? A lot of people, they get married for different reasons. Maybe they just don't want to be alone, right? Because maybe you're getting older or well up in age and you don't want to spend the rest of your life by yourself. Or maybe you're looking for somebody to take care of you, Everyone has their reasons, but whatever it is, know your why you want to get married. Because let me tell you about marriage. Marriage is work. Okay. I cannot express that enough. Marriage is work. And if you are not ready to work, if you are not ready to give fully of yourself, if you are not ready to sacrifice so much, about who you are, and not saying you have to sacrifice everything, but if you are a person that's unwilling to sacrifice, then you might not be ready for marriage. If you are a very intolerant person, if you are a very, introvert, like, like you really don't deal with other people too well. Maybe you don't like people so much in your space. These are the things you need to do to know yourself. So marriage is work. Marriage is a life of service. That's what I tell people. It's a ministry. And it's a life of service. And so if you are not a servant, right, and I don't mean that in the negative term, but if you are not willing to serve, if you're not willing to give of yourself, if you're not willing to help somebody else, then marriage might not be the thing for you. If you think that marriage is only going to bring things to you and that you're never going to have to give, that you're never going to have to sacrifice, that you're never going to have to compromise, that you're never going to have to do some things you're not going to want to do, that you're never going to have to put up with some stuff that you're not going to want to put up with, then marriage might not be for you. And it is okay, because everyone is not called to be married. It's okay. Being single is actually a blessing if you have that in you to be able to be happy and content in your singleness. The Bible actually tells us that that's the best place to be, because we can, keep God and his purposes first in our lives. Because when we have a spouse, then, we always have to take that other person into consideration. So know yourself, and know your why. Yes, vice versa. Let's see. Unbroken Sylvia Sunshine says, yes, it is work. It is work. It definitely is. But it's a fulfilling work. So let me make sure that we're not being too negative, right? But it's a fulfilling work, right? Because when marriage is good and when it's fulfilling and when you all are really working and functioning as a team and everything is going beautifully, there's no better place to be in love, right? There's no better place than to have that life partner, and to experience life whole with someone who you love and you can share your life with, share your thoughts, your dreams, and all that stuff with. There's no better place to be, really. The next one is, how well do you compromise or work with others? And listen, this again, I can't stress how much important it is for you to know yourself. If you know you have a hard time working with people, like I said, maybe you really don't even like people that much, right? Maybe you good with yourself, but you're not always so good with other people. Or maybe you like this person on good days, but maybe not on other days. If you have sort of a selfish mentality, if you're set in your ways, and I know this can be really important and hard, because as we get older, right, and we start getting in our 40s and 50s and 60s and 70s, however up in age you are, you get pretty set in your ways, right? You get pretty comfortable with who you are and where you are, and you're not really looking to make a whole lot of changes. And so if you know that you are pretty set in your ways, you know that you are maybe controlling, you like things a certain way, right? Things have to be this way. I want my sheets this way. I want my kitchen to look this way. I want my car to be this way. Whatever your things are, if somebody came into your house or came into your space and disrupted that pattern, that thing that those things that you cherish and take pride in and enjoy, how are you going to take that? How are you going? Because that very well may be, if you are a very neat and tidy and person, and the person you're marrying may not be as neat and tidy as you are, y'all expect to bump some heads, and decide, ooh, I could deal with this, but I don't know if I could deal with this over here, because that's a whole nother ball game, right? Let's see. If you are a timely person and the person you're marrying is not so timely, then expect to bump some heads, right? How are you all going to compromise on that? And it's okay to have these differences. Your spouse doesn't have to be exactly like you, but y'all need to be able to communicate with each other and work through some things and make some compromises with some of these things, so that you all can, be able to stay married happily, because these differences are going to happen. They're going to, it's just a matter of time. Sister says, now that one can be hard to do with most people. That brings in submission, and people at times don't like giving up self and to submit to the others, submit to the ways of others. Yes. And I'm glad you said that, you brought up that word submission, because I just recently did a talk on submission. So if you all missed that, I highly encourage you all to do that. Submission, the world puts a lot of negative connotation around the word submission. And when we are talking about submission, we're not talking about controlling somebody, making somebody do what you want them to do, telling them it's my way or the highway type mentality or type, that's not the conversation we're having. When we are submitting to each other, in biblical terms, right? And, if you're Christian, if you're a believer, or if not, it doesn't matter, whatever, your thoughts and personal thoughts and beliefs are. I'm not here to tell you what to believe, but from biblical terms, submission is not about controlling the other person, making them submit to what you want them to do. Submission is about ceasing to resist. You're ceasing to resist each other. You're not constantly working against each other. You're saying that it's not just about what I want. It's not just about what I need. It's not just about me. I'm also willing to take into consideration, listen to what you have to say, why that matters, and figuring out how we can work together to get this done. And first of all, it's, wives have to submit to husbands. Husbands have to submit to wives. It's not just about, wives submitting to your husbands, right? Because that's the part that people like to pull out of the Bible. That is just, wives and husbands have to submit. It's about submitting to each other as we submit unto God. That's what it says. So, don't misconstrue that word submission from the worldly perspective and miss out on what it means to just stop resisting your spouse, your mate, your partner in life, to stop resisting them and to say, I don't want to resist you. I want to work with you. I want to love you. I want us to work together, and I want us to figure this out. I want us to overcome this obstacle. I want us to, reach this new, overcome this challenge or accomplish this great thing that we're trying to do, whatever it is. So try to change your mindset. Yes, no one has to win in marriage. It's not a competition. It's not a competition. You're not competing against each other because you're one. You're one, right? If we can't be against ourselves, right? If I'm against my spouse, then I'm actually against myself, because me and my spouse are one. So, and it tells us a house divided will fall. So we can't be divided against one another. We're trying to work with each other. And that means we have to submit so that we can become one, right? Because if I'm constantly resisting you, then I'm not submitting to you. I'm not considering you. And we can't become one on a situation. And therefore it makes it harder for us to accomplish anything. So yes, it's not a win or lose when it comes to your spouse. It's not a win or lose type situation. It's just what's best for this particular moment in this particular time for us to accomplish this next thing, and who is more capable in this particular area, or who is smarter, or who is more gifted, or who is more talented, or who is more able, whatever it is. And so I cease to try to ignite it. But if your partner is better at it, then let them take the lead. Let them take the lead so that you all can get it done together. Because if they're winning, you're winning. And if I'm winning, they're winning, right? But so it's not a situation where, I should have done that, or I should have been able to do that, or it should have been me, or you should have let me do that. It's not, it shouldn't be that. That's not what it's about. So try to change your thought about what it means to submit, because it's not that controlling, do as I say. I don't care. You have a voice. You should have a voice in your marriage. You should have a voice, and you should be taken in consideration. Yes, be able to meet in the middle. Yes, when you're married, it's a lot of meeting in the middle. It is. Yes, it's a lot of meeting in the middle. Let's see, a lot of people get submission twisted and thinking, and they take out of turn and turns it towards controlling the other person. Go to work together in one accord. Absolutely, sister to sister. You're so right about that. So yeah, compromise. submit, submit to each other, and cease to resist each other so that you all can do that. So yeah, if y'all missed that lesson, go back and check that because it was really good. Let's see. I've learned that having a voice is so important. Absolutely, it is. You need to know that you're heard. You need to know that you're being taken into consideration, that because that's a part of loving the person. That's a part of loving the person. A person who doesn't take the time to listen to you, to ask you your thoughts or opinion or take you into consideration, probably doesn't really care about you and probably has a hard time loving you. And something like my husband told me just the other day, he was like, you know, one thing that I've learned and something that he knows that I've picked up on is that when we are, you know, talking and communicating, when he's not listening to me, and if I say, you know what, I really think that's probably not going to be the best thing. You might want to, you know, do this way. And he's like, no, I really think this is what we need to do, blah, blah, blah. So I say, okay, you know, do it. And this is something that I hear people say all the time. I don't want to submit to somebody who they're going wrong. And I absolutely know they're going wrong, right? They're like, I don't want to have to suffer from their bad mistakes, right? Isn't that what we hear people say? I don't want to have to suffer from their bad decisions, especially when I told them to do differently. We don't want to submit to that. But what I've learned is that if you let them go ahead and make those decisions, if you let them go ahead and make that downfall, they're not going to continue to do it because their ego and their pride is not going to continue to let them go down that road, that bad path, right? That bad decision making, because they don't want to hear your mouth. They don't want to hear your mouth. They don't want to hear you say, I told you so. They don't want to hear you say, so, you know, let them do it. If it doesn't go out the way they plan, you know, prayerfully, if they're a, you know, halfway sane person, they'll say, yeah, I probably should have listened to you. Or they'll come back to you and say, okay, now how do you think we could have approached that better? Right. So don't be so afraid that if they make a bad mistake, because guess what? You're going to make mistakes too. And they're going to have to tolerate you making bad mistakes. It's not all just about the other person making the mistakes, because you're going to make them too. You're going to do something in the marriage that's going to cause you all some detriment. And it's just a matter of time. So don't get so high and mighty and thinking that, you know, my way is always the best way, because it may not be. And God will show you real quickly when that it's not. So yes, let's see. I've learned that having a voice is so important. Boy, that ego is something else. Yes, that ego is something else. Yes, you're right. I remember you were saying that in your last live, but if the person is toxic, they'll find a way to blame you for their mistake. Yeah. And that's a red flag. That's a red flag. And if you missed my lesson on red flags, go ahead and check that as well. But yeah, if the person is constantly looking to, you know, blame you for things, or things are never their fault, that's definitely, you know, a red flag when you're in that dating phase, or when you're in that, you know, engagement phase of the relationship. If you start seeing these kind of little things, those are red flags you really want to look at. Is this person really for me? Are they really looking out for my best interest, or are they really just looking out for their best interest? You know, because these are things that is it really just about them trying for us to create the life that they want, or are they interested in creating a life that we can build together, right? Is it just all about them, or is it all about me? And when things don't go the way they want it to go, do they get angry or try to blame you rather than seeing themselves? And that's actually one of my tips on here as to know whether or not you're ready for marriage is, are you able to take accountability? And this is, again, part of knowing yourself. If you know that you are a person that has a hard time apologizing, if you're a person that has a hard time forgiving, if you're a person that holds grudges, or, you know, things are never your fault, then you might not need to be married. You know, marriage might not be the thing for you, because in marriage, you absolutely have to be willing to say, I'm sorry, that was my fault. I should not have done that, or I should have, you know, taken what you said into consideration. Or even if it was just a misunderstanding, sometimes we have to say, I'm sorry that maybe I didn't come across clearly when we were talking about that. or I apologize that you misunderstood what I was saying, or that I did not take the time to make sure that you understood what I meant or what my intentions were behind these actions. But you have to be willing to do those things. So if you're married to somebody who is trying to blame you for everything and as to why everything is wrong, then y'all might need to prepare to do some counseling, prepare to do some counseling or make some difficult decisions. So yes, another one is being financially stable. This was huge for my husband and I. Everyone has different thoughts and ideas about marriage, right? Maybe you don't want your spouse to work. Maybe you want them to stay home and you bring home the bacon, right? And this can be for men or women, whatever situation is. What is really important to know that if you're ready for marriage is, what can I take care of myself? Can I provide for myself? Am I financially, mentally healthy, right? Do I have a healthy mental finance way of thinking? Meaning you don't have a debt mentality, right? Because I know people who are like, oh, we're always going to have debt. Like, we're always going to be in debt. And yeah, to a certain aspect, you're right about that. But am I the person that goes out intentionally creating debt and allowing myself to get deeper and deeper in debt? What level of debt am I comfortable at? What level of debt is my spouse comfortable with? All of that is so important to decide to know, am I really financially ready? If you still living at home with your parents, right? For reasons other than having to take care of them, right? If you know that you got credit card bills, you got student loans, you got, unnecessary debt. I'll just say unnecessary debt, because some debt is necessary, right? And especially during these times with COVID and the pandemic, all sorts of stuff has been going on. So that's not what I'm talking about, right? I'm talking about that unnecessary volunteer debt that we allow ourselves to get in. If you know that you have an unhealthy mentality around money and debt, then you might not be ready for marriage, because you cannot assume in marriage, if your spouse is the breadwinner, if your spouse brings, home more money than you, that they're always going to be able to do that is always going to be a given, because it may not be. Tons of things happen in life where people lose their jobs, where people have family, situations that come up where they have to quit their jobs, or where they get fired, right? Or their job just ceases to exist, right? A lot of people who lost their businesses, lost their jobs, never imagined that they would be in a place where they weren't, maybe the breadwinner, or where they weren't even employed. A lot of people had to get on unemployment this year that never thought in a million years that they would ever be on unemployment. And if that's the case, where your spouse is not bringing in as much money, can you step in and pay where things need to be paid, or, figure out how to rebudget your life when these sort of unexpected things happen? Or are you ready to jump ship just because the finances aren't where they used to be, because y'all are accustomed to a particular lifestyle? And when that lifestyle no longer fits your idea or thought about what marriage is, you're ready to, get those papers. So, if that's the mentality you have, then you might not be ready for marriage. You might not be ready for marriage, because anything can happen in marriage. You have to approach marriage with, if the worst thing happens to me and my spouse, right, this person who I love and care for and all that, if the worst thing happens to us, can I still be married to them? Could I still see myself married to them? So this is why I say you have to know your why. And hopefully you like and love your spouse outside of just what they can do for you and what they bring to the table. I love my husband as a person. Like, if I didn't know, like if I wasn't married to him, I would like who he is. Like, I would like hanging out with him. I would like, talking with him, communicating with him, just being in his space. And that's what you want, right? You want to love your potential spouse for who they are, and not just for what they bring to the table. Because when they can no longer bring that to the table, can you still love them? Because that's what marriage requires. That's what marriage requires. So, if you know yourself and you know that, no, I kind of need to have things, be a certain kind of way in order for me to stay committed, then marriage might not be the life for you. It might not be the ministry for you. And it is okay. It's nothing that you have to beat yourself up about. I would rather see a lot less people get married and then and be happy and save themselves, all this drama and, stuff with kids and all that stuff, than to just, walking in a marriage and hoping things works out. And if not, we'll just get divorced, because divorce brings on a whole nother set of issues that you just underestimate, that you can easily underestimate can be a problem. So know yourself, know yourself. Do you love yourself? Let me see what y'all are saying. Yes, yes, yes. Communication is everything. Hey, thanks. How are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome. So yes, be financially stable. Do you love yourself? When you are in a marriage or thinking about getting married, you need to love yourself and you need to love on yourself. You need to know how to love on yourself. And you need to be past that whole game playing competition phase of your life, because when you are with your spouse, we're no longer playing games, because we're functioning as one. So if you are feeling like you have to be in competition with your spouse, like, no, I have to do this better than them, or I need to outshine them in this area and that area, that's not what marriage is about. You need to be past that competing phase of your life where, you can pull back and let them take the lead, or you celebrate with the wins with them when they're winning, and they can celebrate the wins with you when you're winning, right? Because it's not about, my life is not where I thought it would be. Things aren't what I hope that they would be, and you're doing everything that you want to do, because if they're winning, you're winning, right? If they're winning, you're winning. So it shouldn't be this competition of, well, I'm not doing anything and you do everything, or you have all these opportunities and I don't have any opportunities. Because number one, seasons happen in marriage. So just because your spouse is in a season where they are producing, where they are winning, where they are seemingly living their best life, and you feel stagnant, it's okay, because the next season might be your turn. And then you're going to be in a position where, you're winning. And so you can't allow yourself to mentally get in that space where, you feel like all hope is lost. Like you can't celebrate with them, because you're not competing with your spouse. You're not competing with your spouse. You are working with them to accomplish everything that you never thought that you could imagine. So yeah, love yourself, love your spouse, and be able to celebrate with them, and make sure that you can know your value, know what you bring to the table, because just because maybe you're a stay-at-home mom or a stay-at-home dad does not mean that you are any less valuable than your spouse. And prayerfully, they know that. Prayerfully, they know that you're no less valuable. Maybe they're able to do what they do because you are home taking care of the kids. You are home making sure the bills are paid. You are home, making sure, things are being taken care of in whatever way that you do that, so that they can have the time and the space or the freedom to do what they need to do, and vice versa. If you want to be home with your kids, for me personally, I never wanted to be a stay-at-home mom. We have two little ones that are 3, and being a stay-at-home mom has never been anything I've ever wanted to do. So I had to talk to my spouse. Are you okay with me working? Because I don't want to be a stay-at-home mom. And I have absolutely nothing against the stay-at-home moms, but I know myself. I am a communicator. I'm a people person. I love getting out and doing and being, and not staying at home with 2-3-year-olds. I can't do it. I can't do it. I love to work. I love to be active. I love to feel valuable. I love to serve. I love to, make people's lives better in any way that I can. And for me, I couldn't do that on the level that is fulfilling to me and who I am as a person by being a stay-at-home mom. I'm able to love on my husband. I'm able to love on my kids so much better because I work, because I'm able to go out into the world and get my fulfillment the way I need it, so that when I come home, I have a whole different level of appreciation for them. But that's for me. That's not for everybody. For other people, it's the exact opposite. They want to be home. They want to work from home. They want to, be a homebody, or and serve in the capacity of what it takes to take care of the house. And that is totally awesome. And I see people who do it phenomenally. I admire people who are able to do that, because I'm not able to do that, so know yourself. Again, know yourself and talk to your spouse about it. Like, don't let them, don't spring. This is the worst thing you can do. Don't get married to somebody and then spring on them later. Oh, well, I was kind of hoping that I could stay home, or, I was kind of hoping to not work in this business and to start my own company. If you knew that, talk to them about it before you go down that road of marriage. Okay. Talk to them about everything you think you might want to do, whether you do it or not, and see what they're okay with and what they're not okay with, because it might be a deal breaker for them. And you have to be willing to accept that, because you rather it be a deal breaker in the dating phase than for it to be a deal breaker in the marriage phase. So, be okay with letting people know what you want, what you don't want, all that. Hey, Rochelle Vanderpool, how are you? Good to see you, Rochelle. Welcome. Crystal Vlogs Lifestyle. Hello. I appreciate you all saying hello to everyone. Chef BC, how are you? That part, Chef said. Absolutely. Peekaboo Scholars, good to see you. Thank you. You agree. Yeah. So, and I've had that happen to me before, where I got married and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now that we're married, let me open up the floodgates and tell you all my secrets. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay. Don't wait to get married and then feel like, okay, finally I can, and vomit all over your partner, all your skeletons in your closet. Okay. Let it all out. You want somebody to love you for who you are. You want your marriage to be authentic. You want the love to be authentic. If you feel like someone is just loving you based on, how you acted, or how you, all these conditions, then that's not who you want to be married to, because there's no love that's more beautiful. I never feel more beautiful than when my husband is loving me in my ugliness. Okay. And he never feels more special, right, and more appreciated than when I'm loving him in his ugliness. Because sometimes our ugly can get ugly, people. It can get ugly. And so for you to know that even in my ugliness, even in my illness, even in my impatience, even in my uncompromising, even in my headstrongness, even in my laziness, even in, whatever it is that you're doing, this person loves me. Come on now. Come on. Who doesn't want that? Who doesn't want that? So why pretend? Why pretend? Why pretend like I'm all of this and I'm all of that? And then, what do you say? Better love it all. Absolutely. Crystal says, you better love it all. You better love it all. The good, the bad, and the ugly. Because let me tell you, what you see in the person that you're dating, the good of them, the bad of them, and the ugly of them, you better like it, because it's one day going to be directed towards you. Okay. It's one day going to be directed towards you. You may think, I love this person. I would never talk crazy to them. I love this person. I would never, mess around on them. I love this person. They would never do this to me. If it's in them, it's potential that it can happen to you. And you need to decide, is that something I can tolerate? right? The worst of who they are, is that something you can tolerate? The worst of who I am, is that something that they can tolerate in me? But we need to be ugly people. Like, hey, you know what? I can be real impatient, or I can be a real stickler when it comes to this. And I need you to know that. I can be real ugly, or real, whatever your things are, right? Those ugly things that you know about yourself, those things that maybe you're slightly ashamed of, those things that you're constantly working to improve. Those are the things that you need to share with your spouse, so that your potential mate, so that they know, okay, thank you for sharing that with me, and let me decide whether or not I think I can handle this. So that way, even if it comes, right? If it comes, at least they can't say you didn't tell them, right? If nothing else, cover yourself. Cover yourself. Like, hey, I told you that I could be this way, so that they understand, like, yes, okay, yes, you did tell me that. And, it's better to have that be the situation and that be the scenario, than for them to find out, look at you one day like, who on earth did I marry? Who is this person standing in front of me? Because I don't even know you. Like, I thought I married this person, and here you are, this person, right? So let people know, communicate, know yourself, communicate about yourself, and let people know. Be honest with them, be honest about that. But just as ugly as I can be, I can love you like none other, right? I can give to you, I can love on you, all this stuff. But you have to be willing to take the good and the bad with me, because I'm not perfect. And I'm willing to take the good and the bad with you, because I know you're not always going to be perfect. And that's what you want. Crystal Vlog says, I needed to hear this. I'm so glad. This wasn't even something I was going to talk about tonight, but God led me to talk about it. So here I am talking about it. So whoever needs it, I'm so happy to be here to share it with you. We should all crave that. Love me in my ugliness. Yes, absolutely. If you are a person that always wears hair or weave or whatever, take that stuff out, take off the makeup, take off whatever you have on, and let them see you, in who you are, because you're not always going to be that person. You're not always going to be who you present to the world. And you need to know that this person that you're with can love you regardless, because that's what you want. You want that authentic, unconditional love. Now, all marriage is based on conditions, right? Like, I'm not going to let my husband just, talk plumb crazy to me and we're going to stay married, right? So I'm not going to say that it's fully unconditional, because let's be honest, there is just a certain level of conditions, right? Like, I expect him to, be the man that he is. I expect him to be a man of God. I expect him to, not talk crazy to me. I expect him to love me the way Christ loved the church. I expect him to, be good to our kids. I have certain expectations. And when he falls short of that, we can talk about those things. We can work through those things. But if it was something that never changed, like, I'm like, hey, we need to talk about this. We need to work through, we need to figure this out, because right, this isn't what I signed up for. So, there's going to be some level of conditions, but, for the most part, you need to have some forgiveness. You need to have some willpower, right? We should not always have one foot out the door when we are, looking to marry someone, because I see a lot of people, men and women, like, well, they didn't call me when, they were out for a long time. So I'm done. Like, I'm done with this. I don't want to deal with them anymore. Or, she didn't fix dinner for me or call me on my birthday, or, whatever. Like, sometimes we can come up with the craziest stuff, the simplest things as to why we're ready to jump out of a relationship, rather than talking about it. It's like, we're looking for reasons either not to get married, or we're looking for reasons to get married, rather than trying to decide on our own. Yes, I want to be married for these reasons, and I'm looking for somebody who can fulfill these purposes, someone who I can pour into their life and they can pour into mine. And so that's the wrong approach, when we're just always looking for a reason to get out of it. You should not have one foot in the door and one foot out of the door. Like I said, playing double dutch with your spouse, right? It should always be, we're in this, we're doing this, we're working on this together. We're going to figure this thing out. We're going to talk through whatever issues come our way. We're going to overcome it. And we're going to look back at it and be like, wow, look how far we came. Or can you believe we made it through that, right? We're going to laugh back at some of these situations and some of our thoughts, these things that we struggled with. So you should have this mentality of, I am in this to win it, in it to win it, always. And if that's not where you are, then you might not be ready for marriage with this person. And it is okay, because wait until you find the person that you are ready to do that with. Okay, wait, because it's so worth it. It's so worth it. The worst thing you can do is get yourself in a situation, walk down that aisle, and wake up the next morning from your honeymoon and be like, what did I do? What did I do? You don't want that. That's not the feeling that you want. You want to be excited about getting married. You want to wake up every morning thankful for your mate, hopeful about your future, grateful for who they are, for them being in your life. Like, I still have mornings where I wake up and pinch myself like, yes, this is my life. This is the person I'm doing it with. And I'm loving it. And we're just 7 years in, right? We're just right at 7, right? So, that's how you want to feel. You don't want to be in a marriage like looking for reasons as to why you should get divorced, why you want to be divorced, why you wished you had stayed single. So if you do the work up front, then you won't have to worry about all this stuff later in the marriage. You won't have to worry about it because you would have already done the work up front. And marriage is work. It's continuous work. You rather be working on things that are going to help propel you all forward rather than still working on issues from your past. Okay. You rather be working on your future rather than working on the issues that you dealt with your past. Be more than a fair weather fan. Okay. You can't just be a fair weather fan. You got to be in it. You got to be prepared for the unexpected. Love them in their ugliness, love them in their illness, love them when they don't feel like loving on you, okay? Because there are times where I don't feel like loving on my husband. And I know that there are times that he does not feel like loving on me. And I have to love him even in those days. It's like, well, I don't care if you don't love me. I still love you, right? Or he may say, I don't care if you don't love me. You can go in your corner, but I'll still be here when you get back. He'll often tell me, whenever you're ready to pack up your bags, just let me know so I can go get mine. Right? And that's what you want. He doesn't care about me being mad. He doesn't care about how I feel or what I'm irritated with him about. He's like, I still love you. I'm still in this with you. And when you're ready to leave, and then I'll go get my bags because I'm gonna go with you. And that's what you want. That's what you want. Hey, Life with Susie Q, how are you? Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome in. So I'm getting ready to head out. I just kind of wanted to come on here for an hour. I hope this was, well, it seems like several of you told me that it was, a good talk for you, that you needed to hear this. So I'm super glad. I'm super glad that I can share this with you all. And I want you all to know that I'm here for you. You got a cheerleader in your corner, right? I'm here for you all. I'm here to help you all work through your relationship issues, your marriage issues, your communication issues, your spiritual issues, whatever. I'm here. I'm in it. I'm in it with you all, right? I'm loving on y'all even when y'all ain't loving on me. So just know that. Just know that I'm here for you all. I'm going to say a quick prayer. Do y'all have any questions? Are there any questions that y'all want me to answer for you? Anything y'all want me to share, or just pop it in the chat? Let me know. If not, I will go ahead and say a prayer. Enjoyable, blessed word. I'll give y'all my sister's laughing. Hey, V loves TNN. Good to see you. Good to see you. Welcome, welcome. Glad I caught you live. I'm so glad to. I'm glad to. I've been trying to be here on Saturdays. We've gotten so busy. Life has gotten super busy at work. And, you know, we've been partaking in more activities as a family on the weekends and stuff. So, you know, it's been hard sometimes to get on a Saturday, but I will definitely try to be here. I'm on Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I'm on Monday through Friday. You're either going to get a tip from me or you're going to get a live session. So catch some of my lives. Hey, Jazzy TV, how are you? Good to see you. Welcome. Amazing live. No questions. All right. I'm going to go ahead and say a prayer and then we're going to head out of here. I'm not going to take up the rest of y'all Saturday night. Go, love on the person you're with, whether y'all are just engaged or whether you're dating or whether you're married, right? Go talk, go have some important conversations that you all need to have. All right. So let me say a prayer. Father, thank you so much for this evening. Thank you for this time that you've allowed me to impart your words into your people. These are your people. You know their needs. You know the things that they're struggling with. You know the doubts that they have in their head. You know the things that the enemy is putting into their minds that are not of you. So, Father, I just come just asking you to clear out these cobwebs, clear out this mental distress that people may be going through as they're trying to deal with being single, trying to deal with making the decision of whether or not they want to get married, whether or not they want to be married, or whether or not they even want to stay married. Okay, because you know what's in their heart. Marriage is not easy and it's work, and we all have misconceptions about what it is. What you created it to be, what you designed it to be, and how what your expectations are of it. So, Father, help us to be clear in our intentions when it comes to our potential mates, the people that we want to share the rest of our life with. Help us to be in your word, live in your word. Let it be a reality. We don't want to hide behind secrets. We want to love on our partners the way you love on us. And we don't want to be guilty of falling short of that. And if that requires us to say things that we don't always feel like saying, if that requires us to do things that we don't always feel like doing, if we have to put ourselves in the way, Father, the best place for us to be is with you, even if you have us out on a limb. So just help us to feel confident. Give us the courage to say the things that we need to say. Give us the courage to walk out if we know that it might be time for us to walk out and say, no, maybe this is not for me long term. So I'm going to go ahead and, save you some trauma and turmoil and save myself some. Give them the courage. Bless these unions, bless these marriages, bless these engagements. Bless your people. Bless your people. Give them peace about what the decisions they need to make. Give them peace and comfort. Use me the way you see fit. In any area that they need. Thank you for this life. Thank you for who you are. Thank you for loving on us in spite of us. These things I ask in your son, Jesus' name. Amen. All right. Wow, Ruth, you killed this topic. Thank you. Thank you. I appreciate you all. Really, y'all are being so kind. Thank you so much. So y'all have a wonderful evening. Blessings to my husband and the babies. Yes, thank you. Thank you. So I will see you all next week. Take care. Bye-bye.